Hi, I'm Wes Allen with DM Tales, and this past week I was able to run my first ever session and adventure in Dolmenwood, which is a fantastic setting. I had some really good players, and this is my recap. Let's roll it. Things started off normally enough. I had my friends Jim, Jamison, and Carrie at the table ready to play, and they introduced their characters and their classes. Let's take a look. Let's talk about this. So you guys are adventurers out near the very large ancient forest of Dolmenwood. So we've got Jim, who is playing Sasserpipe Drooglite. What's your character class and your species that you're playing?
I am a Woodgrew bard.
Okay.
Yeah.
Having some fun out there, like the party. Jamison, you're playing who?
Monsieur Poppletail. A Grimalkin.
A Grimalkin enchanter.
Enchanter.
Yes.
Who is a catnip brewer and would like to someday be a catnip distiller.
Well, there's aspirations for life. It's always good. Just make sure you have good venting for the distilling.
I want to found a secret society. So
well, you could found a secret society of catnip distillers.
Don't give it to mine because she just knocked over an entire stack of folded towels.
All right, awesome. And Carrie, who are you playing there? I don't think I have your name right in your quick trade, but who are you playing?
No, I am playing. I am known as Shade. That is
Shade.
No.
Very good. A fighter, correct? All right, very good. Well, you are
an elf or something like that.
Yes, elf fighter. And then came time for the hook. Now, the three players at the table are actually pretty good role players. They've been in the hobby for quite a long time. They like to get into their characterizations. And what is normally just a, here's your job, let's go do this. Nope, they needed to do antics. And this is what happened. You've been adventuring a little bit. So you're all second level. So you've been out in the woods. You've done a couple things. It brought you to the attention of some folks from the Institute of Physics and Sorcerers in Castle Brackenwald, which is the head of the human government in the area there. And they kind of ushered you into their main building one day, and you were introduced to Professor Edwin Wogelmain, who is the head of the college. Little, graying curly hair, got spectacles because there's rules, and robes. And basically, he kind of sits you down. He's like, well, this is quite embarrassing, but we have lost two of our most preeminent members, don't you know? And we very much would like to have them back, or barring that, at least their research, which is quite valuable to the Institute. So if you would go to look at them, they took up residence in this small little town called Blackswell. Run-down little place, long past its prime. But Paranox, a wizard, and his friend Klepp, who was an artificer, they decided that they were going to go and set up shop there. Paranox was saying something about researching some old fungal magic. We do need to recover them, or as I said, borrowing that, their research notes to come in. It would very much set the Institute back quite a bit. I am prepared to reward you 1,500 gold pieces for the return each of Klepp and Paranax. They are quite valuable to the Institute. And additionally to that, or in lieu of, $1,000 for Paranax's experimental notes, and 1,000 gold pieces for Klepp's experimental notes. Klepp, you may know, is very much the force behind the new use of animatronics and clockwork servants. It's quite fascinating stuff. We'd very much like to get that research back.
So I have a question.
Sure.
So does the university own these individuals?
Well, they are members of the Institute. Yes, they are quite valuable. We do not own them. We're much more like a rescue mission, as it were. Oh, did I forget to mention? Apparently, there has been some reports that some sort of plague has taken over the town of Blackswell and is kind of trapped people there. It's very much an emergency situation, if it will.
Plague.
Yes, yes, and time is of the essence. For in about 4 days' time, there are some more sadly militant members of the church who are determined that the whole place is unclean, and they're preparing to burn the whole town to the ground.
Okay.
So we'd very much like to be able to rescue our members and their research, of course, before
Sure.
that should happen.
So it's Paradox, and is it Clap or Clep?
That would be Klep and Paranax, yes.
Parallax?
No, Paronax.
Paronax.
Yes, that's it. You've got it.
And CLEP, like CLEP?
CLEPP. A little bit more emphasis on the P. So Klep.
CLEP.
Well, not quite that much, but yes, you're getting the hang of it. Yes. So would this be something you were interested in?
Okay, so you mentioned what their jobs were, but could you give us a little bit more, like what do they look like?
Oh, well, I mean, they'd be pretty much, in a small town like Blackswell, they'd pretty much stand out. But Paranax is very much a very traditional, elderly, more wizard, graying long beard, wears very flowy robes. He's a little bit of a show-off, too.
Flowy robes, dribbling candles, yes.
Not so much the dribbling candles. He does like to carry mushrooms around for some reason. We never really quite understood it.
Well,
Klep
the fungal
on the
magic, yes.
Yes.
More of a Radagast.
Yes. So Klep, on the other hand, you'll a shorter, stockier individual, often just wearing leather aprons. His hands are always doing something.
Wait.
What?
Just leather aprons?
Well, no, not just.
Okay. Like,
you asked for things that were distinctive. A leather.
And wearing nothing but an apron would be very distinctive.
Okay, well,
that would be.
So, like,
yes, that would be. Yes, I have to admit that would be something that's very distinctive. Yes, but no, that's the leather. I'm trying to describe Klep as I understand it. Klep wears his leather apron and is usually tinkering on something at high state function dinners.
Oh, I see.
So, like, you went onto all these descriptions and you didn't even mention, like, what color are their auras?
Not really part of our science.
The stars are science. They speak and they have conversations with, our mortal bodies and cell. They speak to the divine within us, and that has a color. So what's their aura color?
I'm afraid me being mortal would not know such things. You being Fae, that would be much more of your.
So you don't know their colors. Okay.
Not something that's ever really crossed my mind, to tell you the truth.
Is there anyone else around here who might know these things?
I mean, the church tends to frown on things, so we try not to deal too much with Fey magic here. I mean, they do turn a blind eye when it's convenient, but yes.
Astronomy is a science. I don't know how to emphasize that to you. But.
Oh, no. We weren't done because they hadn't really gotten to their total antics yet. The Fey magic aura colors, that was just the beginning. Here's what happened.
There you go.
Yes.
So I have slipped away into a shadow.
I like how you left and came back.
The next thing that happens is kind of a fat tabby cat jumps up onto this guy's shoulder and starts purring and softly meowing in his ear.
Very, your pet?
I don't like to think about, creatures in terms of pets and ownership, because that's just a created, category.
Companion. Is your?
Oh, I've never seen it before in my life. I don't know.
I'm afraid I'm a little
Coworker.
little. If you could just maybe take. He's not pleased.
I jumped down.
Oh, yeah. With the tail across his nose.
Yeah, tail across the nose. Thing. I jumped down.
Dear.
And I kind of do one little quick circle, rubbing myself around his leg, and then as I leave the room, I pee on the doorpost. And leave the room.
May I reiterate? I don't know this creature personally.
You did have another friend here. Where was? Oh.
And
yes.
I transform once I'm out of sight. Back to
very good. I assume that these offers would be he's very flustered at this point.
Sure.
Would be acceptable to you. If you would like that, please just report back to me. And he's just shoveling you out of the room. Shuts the door, and all you just hear him like sneezing and coughing.
Is the 1,500 each per person?
Yes, per person.
Them persons or us persons?
Them persons.
So 500 each for us. Okay.
Yes. And then before we actually got to the town, we had to have a moment where we shared some of our cool Knick Knacks. Take a look. I do like the owlbear plushie. It's very nice.
That is very cute.
The Mrblahface plushie is very nice. I have my Eagles thing that on my thing. Somebody handed that to me at Page, like, "Hey, I saw you had Knick Knacks on your shelf," and handed me that. I forgot to get a picture of it with them. So now I'm just like, I need to like keep constantly point it out in my videos, but like, who gave me this? I need to know.
Yeah, you go.
It was a one shot, so we hand waved the travel through the hexes inside Dolmenwood, which is probably going to make some people upset who really like the setting, because Dolmenwood's core setting book is like really thick and everything is detailed and there's so many cool things to do, but we wanted to get to the adventure and get through it. It was just a one shot, and we finally got to introduce the town and their first experiences in it. And as you approach the town, what you see, and you kind of see it in this image here, although they colored it kind of rainbow colored, but there's just this white fibrous tendrils that's kind of washed over the entire town. It's kind of draped over the buildings, and some of them are like as thick as arms, and others are like as thin as like hairs. Yeah. So as you're walking over the stuff, and you're kind of, it's like squishy and rubbery as you walk on. It's not like hard terrain or anything. I did tell you there's a little bit of body horror in this. But as you are walking,
no, you didn't. Okay,
like I did too, but it was like 3 weeks ago. So there is like this moment where like everything rumbles, and like you can see like all like the mushroom stacks on top of all these buildings, and even coming from some of the fibers on the ground, like all just explode up into the air with spores that create this like iridescent hue. Like shimmering all over the place.
My hair.
I am putting something over my mouth.
Me too. I put a scarf around my nose.
I am not breathing this stuff in.
But I do wave hello and say hi to the mushrooms and things.
Awesome.
I pull out my flask and take a swig of something. And
that's awesome. On their first stroll down the lane, they were looking for the local tavern because they seemed to think that there would be people just hanging out there in this town that was covered with mycelial residue. I don't understand the logic of players, and I am one sometimes. But they came across the brewery, and this would become a very key feature in the rest of the adventure.
So I'm going to just walk like towards the brewery, and like, are there windows? Like, can I, like from a safe distance, kind of like see inside? Sure. Like, are there lights? Are there people?
Yeah. So what you see is that the brewery's got this bright white walls. The timbers are stained. It's single story. There's no fungus on it whatsoever, though. It's the only building in town so far that you've seen that's not covered in it. I will say that as you're kind of walking in, you're kind of walking towards the entrance because the door is not here; it's here.
Right.
But as you're walking around, you do see a bunch of like barrels that reek of dead and rotting fish. And there is like the whole building is clean of this stuff, but it almost looks like the fungus is avoiding the barrels. The party was a little bit creeped out by this point that they still hadn't seen anyone in the town. So the elf decided that she was just going to start calling out, "Hello, is anybody there?" And that's when they met their first NPC, the local vicar from Blackswell. This is what it looked like. "Oh, ho, ho, hello. Oh, hello." And you look and you see kind of like an older, little portly man. He's kind of wearing clerical robes for typical of a priest in the church. Spectacles, walking through, and he's walking through. He's like, "Oh, hold on one moment," and actually takes out like a vial of oil and like anoints one of the fibers on the ground. Is like, "Yes, there, Brandon. Yes, please. Yes, bless you, child. Very, very good. Hello, how are you?" And as he turns around, you can see that he's got like mushrooms growing out of his head. But it's just such a lovely day. How are you? What brings you to Blackswell? The party told the priest that they were on their way to the tavern because they were passing through the area and wanted to check it out based on reputation. And the priest lamented that there wasn't anybody there right now, but they would be more than welcome to enjoy the hospitality at his home. And so he led them away. Well, yes, the tavern, unfortunately, just seems to be quite unpopular at the moment. Please, would you like to come to my house for some refreshments? I would be very happy to entertain you.
That sounds wonderful. We're actually looking for some friends of ours, too.
So they let the priest know who it was they were looking for, and he did indeed know who they were and where each of them were residing in the town and pointed them out to people. So that was quite helpful. On their way to the parsonage, however, this happened.
And I give him the kind of Jesus side hug.
Right? He loves the Jesus side. Well, please come.
That's great. As I do that,
okay.
Yes.
I'm going to
taking samples.
Hold on. Let Jim talk.
Try to pick his pocket and try to get that oil stuff he had.
He did indeed pick the vicar's pocket and had that vial of oil that he was using to anoint all the protuberances on the ground. I had no idea what he was going to be doing with it at this point, but he had it in hand. And with that, the pastor led them off to the parsonage, where he had to introduce the party to his recent house guests. That was a little bit freaky. I just have to excuse some of my new congregants for a second. Please open up. Harvey, Walter, Bob, Oscar. And it like you open the door and like you could see the table, but now you can see that it's just like kind of like a mound of like dirt and like things that look like they were recently buried. But like objects that were recently buried, but they're like on the ground, kind of like weeding through them are 4 like skeletons that seem to be held together by like different fibrous fungal fibers.
Oh no!
When you open the doors, like these things kind of like stand up and like look at you. No. They are friends, please. So this is too long to show you in the recap, but basically what they did with that anointing oil is they dumped it out and they filled it up with some of that ale from the brewery that killed the fungus. They were hoping that the father would use it on one of the new supplicants for his church, and that's exactly what happened. Somebody got a little upset, and he anointed them to bless them, and it ended up killing the mushroom, and he was quite put out at this point. He was very upset with himself, and they were getting ready to leave or actually kill the priest, which seemed really odd to me. But the elf used her glamour to make him forget, and that brought us to this moment. Oh dear, I'm sorry.
At that point, I jump on him and I start pouring the fish water down his throat.
Oh my god!
Oh my gosh. Okay, I like all this. So, and that would have been a really good ending for the priest, because that would have cured him of having mushrooms growing out of his head eventually. Unfortunately, Jamison's character missed, and that started initiative in combat, and then he got another chance to do it, and he missed again, and the priest was shouting out, "Help, help," and calling back his house guest from the graveyard to come and help him out, and they didn't want anything to do with the skeletons who were coming, and the elf looked at the skeletons who were starting to come back into the house and over at the priest and decided that he didn't need his head, and she succeeded.
Okay.
You just have a long sword. So 1d8. So roll a d8. Yeah, you decapitate him. Father Bertram,
and then I turn back to
the
guys and I just roll my eyes and I'm like, and like
I'm like
what was that supposed to? What are we trying to accomplish here?
I was trying to cure him.
I was gonna try to convince him to drink it himself, but that's okay. That's how I could command.
The party fled the pastor's home out the back door. There really wasn't a back door. It was a window, but they just went out the back door, out of the graveyard, away from the skeletons. And then as the elf went to go get some more ale, because that was the only thing that was keeping these things at bay, well, the other two party members decided that, we're the good guys, so we're going to have to redefine what happened. And this is the story they were sticking to.
I immediately turn to Poppletail and I go, "Oh my God, did you see that skeleton? The skeletons murder that priest?"
I know, it was terrible, wasn't it? Can you believe
Can I hear them?
You believe it?
No, you could not hear them. The party went to the workshop of one of the people they were looking for, and as they went in, they got basically dropped on by a large mucus kind of slime thing that started attacking them. The other two party members were at two doors in a room, and they ran through those doors, getting away from melee. And Jamison's character, who was the enchanter, the Grimalkin enchanter, was still out in the street and decided that, well, he had an easy solution to this problem, because the warehouse they were at was right next to that brewery they'd been going to. And this is what happened. So, Jamison, let's see what you're doing.
Yeah, so I'm outside the building. I am running back to the brewery.
Right next door, sure.
And I am grabbing a closed barrel of fish beer.
Okay.
I'm rolling it back down the street.
I'm loving that.
And I'm going to dump it. I'm going to pour it out, dumping it all over the floor. Like, I'm going to go up to the door, pop it open, and push it over to just like douse the entire floor of this first room.
Now, I had been rolling for random encounters the entire time as the party is traveling through the town. I'm supposed to do it about every 10 minutes. That's where the cool spore cloud came from. It is where the Father Bertram came walking by. And it is also where that wolf head emerged from the fibers that are on the ground there, just kind of freaking people out. And it kind of stayed with them. But that was all that was happened. And he managed to get that barrel rolled over to the warehouse. I understand the physics of that are not quite there, but he did it, rolled it over, knocked it open, and flooded that warehouse with this real fishy smelling ale. It's really kind of gross stuff. And even though that the module didn't say that it would have this effect on the creature, it just worked out so well, so I just narrated it this way. Okay, so as you're kind of like rolling I'm never gonna make a strength roll because I just like this whole idea. As you are rolling it over, you're looking over, and you actually see like from like some of the fibers that are on the ground, because you're rolling over all the fibers, but this protuberance kind of like emerges from it that looks almost like a lupine head, and it emits a brief piteous howl. And then you hear replies from the woods in the same kind of power, and then it like dissolves back into the protuberances again. Oh yeah, it just completely blackens and like solidifies
Whoa.
And it's like just like sizzling in this pool of 55-gallon tub of fish smelling beer.
I go over and I open both the doors and yell at you guys like, okay, the creature is gone.
By this point, the party has had pretty much all the experiences they wanted to have in this town. They did manage to retrieve one of the pieces of information that they were looking for, but they felt obligated to at least go check out the other location where one of the two missing people was living, and were making their way over there, running because they're pretty much done at this point, and that's when this happened. Yet another random encounter. And as you are running there, you see this middle-aged man with sparkling green eyes, and he's just got prodigious red sideburns, a shining monocle, and is colorfully clad in a paisley waistcoat, billowing silk pantaloons, and a bloomed velvet cap. And as you were kind of running by, he goes, "Whoa, good day."
Oh, I stop immediately. This guy's got fashion sense.
I knew it, Jim. I just knew it as soon as he said paisley. I
turn and I look at Carrie and I say, "Are we decapitating him too?"
I just shoot you such a look.
Weston anything about mushrooms. I'm sticking out of his head.
Now, when I read this adventure, I thought of my friend Jim, and he's constantly meeting people like this. And if there isn't an NPC in the game that looks like this, he will invent that NPC. I know this firsthand as his GM. And so it was really kind of just one of the most exciting moments for me as an NPC encounter, because I knew this is exactly who he wanted to talk to. And they at the same time were pretty freaked out that this guy was acting like absolutely nothing was wrong, which led to this exchange.
How can this man not understand? And like, if everyone is gone and like, or Fungus or dead, like how does he have the perception to just...
You guys have been to the suburbs, right?
Yeah.
Just pointing how things are in Minnesota.
I was going to say, I could tell you about the people who lived in the town where Terezin in the Czech Republic.
Yeah,
Czechoslovakia.
There is no war in Bossing.
Exactly.
Yes.
So they really were done by this point. They wanted nothing else to do with this town. They did feel obligated, like I said, so Jamison's character, the Grimalkin, transformed back into his tabby cat, padded through the tower where the wizard who was missing had been living, discovered that this seemed to be exactly where all the mycelial fibers were coming from, and they went, no, we're going to pull the aliens, let's just nuke it from space. They went back to the brewery, got the remaining casks of ale and rolled it down the stairs and just tried to flood out the basement and go down the new tunnel that had been carved. They didn't even bother going upstairs to check out to see if anything was in the desk, which was probably good because they all would have been eaten. But that was it. They ran out and found out that, well, things got even weirder after they left, and I won't give away any of the ending there, but it was a really cool time. So the best part about all of this for me was, first, the characters all used the environment and smart play in order to survive. They saw that they were overmatched or something. They're like, yeah, we're nope outing here right away. We don't want anything to do with this. When things freaked them out, they responded accordingly. When they found something they thought could work, they were going to take that tool with them. I didn't put in, there was one moment where they actually loaded themselves up with like bottles of this ale just so they could throw it like grenades at things. It was a really cool setup. So a lot of really amazing stuff. And as they said at the end, hey, we got one of the pieces of information that we needed, and we all survived. And that was really the key for all of them. So they got in and out of the village. Nobody got infected and turned into a mushroom person. and they survived and got 1,000 gold pieces for their trouble. So it was really kind of cool. Now, they did basically the minimal. They really treated it like it was a one-shot. We're just going to get in and out of here as much as we can. We only have a little bit of a limited time. But I can tell you that if you wanted to go play the Fungus that came to Blackswell, there are so many cool locations to go explore, wild NPCs to meet, really freaky encounters to have, and some of the wildest random encounters that I've seen in a really long time. It was a lot of fun. Now, I did not stream the session that we had. I could have, because I was doing it on EV Mux. I don't know why I didn't think to put it up as for my members only, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the raw footage of it with my players' permission. I'm going to put that up on the channel for members only. So if you want to see the extended play with us rummaging through rule books, because I'm still learning the system, or discussing different things, or watching the party go back and forth and banter, you can go watch that whole thing, because there are some fun scenes that I actually was not able to put into this recap. But I gotta tell you, Dolmenwood really has a whole lot of flavor. It is very, very cool. And it just oozes old school play, where if you play smart, you can do lots of really amazing things. And I love the freedom of the game just for that. All right, coming up, I am about 2/3 of the way written, or beep, beep. All right, coming up, I am about 2/3 of the way through writing my review of The Broken Steps for Dreams and Machines. It's a really cool book. I'm looking forward to bringing it to you. I got my random thoughts as always coming up. I got a couple other books that I'm going through right now. Coriolis the Great Dark is one of them. And we are working on the TTRPG book club that's going to be streaming next week on the 25th, I believe. We're going to be talking about the first 2 chapters of Daggerheart, which is actually a book that I have enjoyed reading so far. Lots of cool new streams coming up. I got TR Nickel in March. I also have Joe Wetzel from Inkwell Ideas to talk about something he's working on right now, kind of a rock and roll bestiary, really cool stuff. They're coming up next month. Just amazingly busy with all this stuff. I am so excited to bring it all to you. And until we see each other again, folks, happy playing, everyone.